Hello and welcome to Milwauking, episode 12. We are honored to be with Dan Sidner. Dan is the co-founder, co-owner of Black Shoe Hospitality, and you probably know them well as the Blues Egg in Shorewood and Wauwatosa, as well as Maxie's and BKC, Story Hill BKC. Excuse me. Dan, thanks so much for having us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for dropping by.
Azure and I have a few questions for you about the restaurants and your history.
Okay, do my best to answer.
Awesome. So, just looking at really what you've created and where it's at today, how did you get into the hospitality business? And I think it's always fun to learn kind of where the beginnings
Sure.
started.
Well, I mean, if we go all the way back, I grew up in Nebraska, in the very rural part of Nebraska, dreaming of more exciting things in rural Nebraska. Got the opportunity to go to college at Cornell. I attended Cornell University in New York. That was one of the oldest and best hotel restaurant management programs in the country. Kind of a long story as to how I got there, but I was lucky enough to go and graduated from there, we'll just say a long time ago. Began working in high-end hotels, then moved to independent restaurants, just kind of found that I really preferred focusing on food and beverage, and moved around a lot with that. I was in Colorado quite a bit, sort of lived in Colorado, then went over to Europe, was in Seattle, North Carolina, Texas, then back to Colorado where I owned a restaurant for 6 years, and then I had the opportunity. The restaurant that I owned was in a building that was sold, and unfortunately I lost the space. I moved here with my first wife, who was originally from Wisconsin, and moved here to be closer to family and to be in an environment where property was more affordable, leases were more affordable, and just a market where I thought we could be successful. So we originally moved to Madison and liked it, but found Milwaukee to be more a fit for us, and we felt, and I think justified, a better restaurant market opportunity. And when we moved here, I assumed that we would be opening something downtown, but we bought a house in Wauwatosa, and almost immediately I saw opportunity here and the idea of creating neighborhood restaurants, and so we opened Maxie's in 2007. At this location just north of 94 on 68th and Fairview Avenue. I had done a lot of the research and the legwork to find this location, had a concept in mind, but I had the great fortune shortly before, about a year before opening Maxie's, to meet Joe Minch, who is from here, raised in Wauwatosa, St. Jude's, Pius High School guy, who had been a chef, had worked at Grenadier, and he'd been the chef that had opened Eddie Martini's. I met him doing a consulting job, and we hit it off, and I hired him to be the executive chef here when we opened, and after about a year and a half asked him to become my business partner, and it was about another year after that that we decided to open Blues Egg on 76 in Blue Mound, and then in 2000, so that was 2010. In 2014 we opened Story Hill BKC. And then last year, 2018, we opened another Blues Egg location in Shorewood. We've also grown. We had always done catering, but we began a couple of years ago to really focus on that. So we've now created Black Shoe Catering, which has become quite a business in and of itself. We do everything from just pickup and deliveries to full-on wedding catering, doing corporate parties and events. That business has grown to a team of about a dozen people now working for us full-time and doing a lot of catering business around town. And we'd always created our own desserts and pastries, but a couple years ago we established Black Shoe Bakery, which primary purpose is supplying the restaurants, but we've now branched out and are starting to do some retail. We're about to make over our retail shop at Story Hill. We're going to add a bakery element to that, and then we are supplying some other restaurants in town too. So lots of activities in 12 years.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Where did the names come from? for the restaurant?
So the original, I had been part of the opening of a restaurant called Maxie's Supper Club, which is in Ithaca, New York. And that concept I brought here in partnership with a good friend, Chick Evans. So Maxie's, we originally opened Maxie's as Maxie's Southern Comfort, because the restaurant in New York is more of a New Orleans style fish house, and I really felt, well, we've always had an oyster bar, we've always brought in fresh fish. I didn't think Milwaukee would support a fish-focused concept, and we felt that we needed barbecue. So the idea was Maxie's Southern Comfort, which was a broader approach to Southern cooking, a little bit of everything, some Cajun Creole, some low country cooking in the Carolinas. And we operated under the name Maxie's Southern Comfort for 3.5, 4 years, and then the Southern Comfort Liquor Company contacted us and said they took objection to us using it. And I talked to my lawyer, and he said, you should stop using it because they're going to sue you. And they have a lot more money. They have better lawyers. So we then just became Maxie's. Blues is kind of an interesting name in that, and this took, so it was, it's two acronyms. Blues is BLUE, breakfast and lunch in an urban environment. The more important acronym, though, is EGG. Everyone's good graces. If we take care of our guests, if we take care of our employees, if we take care of the community, we preserve the egg and stay within everyone's good graces. That community approach to running a business has been really something we've taken from the beginning and try to continue to take forward. Story Hill BKC, Story Hill being the beautiful little neighborhood that it's in, and then BKC stands for Bottle Kitchen Cocktail. There is a wine, beer, and liquor store, there's a restaurant, and then a great cocktail bar. We feature great cocktails both on tap and quickly made. So those are where we came from with those names, and you know, that Blues Egg name, that took Joe and I probably 3 bottles of wine to come up with that. So yeah, it takes a lot of time and energy. You bet.
Idea.
Yeah.
So speaking of community, I see that you do a lot of sourcing as far as producers, local farmers. How did that concept come to life, or how did that relationship start?
Well, I think this is obviously, it's a national trend. There's a lot of people getting hip to the reality and the importance of understanding the sourcing of your ingredients. For me, it began in Colorado, where I really, for the first time, had the opportunity to get to know farmers and appreciate that relationship and the importance of it. So when we got here, luckily Joe had already established some relationships, but we made a point from the beginning of wanting to make that happen. So we really worked the West Allis Farmers Market. We've been part of the Wauwatosa Farmers Market since it began. A little bit with the folks out in Madison, but and after a while, as soon as that's a small community too. So when farmers hear that you're working with people, they just come by and start knocking on your door. So we're right now between all 4 restaurants, because there's some things we buy over in Shorewood from farmers who go to the Shorewood market. We're probably working with 20 different farms right now, and beyond that, we have a mandate with our suppliers to focus on a regional approach, meaning, like here at Maxie's, we can sell 100 orders of ribs on Friday night. I can't work with one farmer to accomplish that. So what we do is our vendors are looking for primarily cooperatives who work with multiple pork farmers in Wisconsin, Iowa, southern Minnesota, northern Illinois, that kind of thing. So it's just not possible to work with one vendor, but we work with through these sourcing opportunities to work with multiple vendors within a geographic region. We really make efforts to not go beyond a 500-mile radius of our restaurants to source food, which may not sound like that much of a barrier, but especially when you get into chicken and seafood, I should qualify, seafood's coming from further away than that. Although our biggest selling seafood item here is the trout dish, which comes from Rushing Waters Trout Farm, just 35 minutes from here, and that is some of the freshest fish we feature. So, that to me, people want to understand both the quality and a little bit of the story. When they come to restaurants like ours, they're expecting the store, and we want to be able to provide that. So that's a big part of what we're trying to do. Yeah.
So you really have three different concepts as far as the restaurants, completely different concepts as far as the restaurants go. Anything in the works for a fourth?
At the moment, no. We are, the building right next door to us right now here at Maxie's, we did purchase that building, and we are going to begin renovations this fall to create a private party space over there. But our real growth is focusing on the catering business for now. I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I moved here, the labor market, I declared Milwaukee the best labor market I had ever been in. Just in that there were lots of capable, friendly, hardworking people available, and there are still those friendly, capable, hardworking people. There just are a lot more restaurants now vying for those same people. So I'm going to wait and see what happens in the market before we go open another restaurant, just because it hasn't really hurt us on the business end. We're still as busy or busier than we've ever been, but it is significantly harder to find staff than it was even 2 years ago. I mean, it's a big change. So.
Well, we really appreciate you opening up Blues Egg in Charlotte. We meet
Yeah.
probably every other week for a meeting.
Well,
Yes.
I appreciate that very much.
It supports the Milwauking Real Estate
Yes,
First
it
Line
does.
team.
Okay.
Yes.
I love the traditional eggs Benedict. I just, with the hand and how it's cured, it's my favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that is still our best-selling dish, despite all the other creative things we're doing all the time. I would hold, I mean, we make our own English muffin. We slow roast that ham and then pull it. It's freshly made hollandaise. The eggs are coming from a local source and are incredibly fresh, never more than 48 hours from hatch. And I mean, it's just, you put those ingredients together and you're going to have a fabulous product. So,
Perfect.
great.
I love that for an
Appreciate
extra
it.
$1 I can substitute my toast for French toast.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Me too.
It's a big deal for me.
Yeah, well, we'll keep doing it then.
Thank you. Andrew, do you have any other questions? I have one more. So what has been your biggest blessing in disguise?
The biggest blessing in disguise has been once you establish some popularity in the restaurant business, you guys know this all too well, landlords start seeking you out and want you to come and be part of it. And we especially, maybe it's dropped off a little bit now, but probably because I just kept telling everybody no, but we are approached almost weekly about another restaurant space opportunity. And a few that we really went after didn't work out. And at the time, it was very disappointing, but in the end, it left us available to do the things that we have done. And we're really excited. I mean, the three restaurants are the original Blues, Maxie's, and Story Hill are all clustered in a 2-mile radius. Moving over to Shorewood has been great. We are very excited to be there, and we are hoping to, at some point, potentially do more things over there. If there is an area of town that we're interested in, it's probably Shorewood, or that neighborhood, Whitefish Bay, is would be a great opportunity as well, or northern Milwaukee. But you look at deals, you consider them, and sometimes you get really emotionally tied to things, and in the end, you're glad that they didn't work out. But hindsight is 20/20 on that. So,
Always.
yeah.
Great. Dan Sidner, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. Next time, let's do it over happy hour, okay?
Sounds awesome.
All right.
Great. Thanks.
You bet.